Reilly Dieguez, the hostess with the mostest, joined with me by
your co-host, Jenn Hoffman. Whoop, whoop.
whoop,
whoop. And Bobby Goodsby.
Yay!
And we're going to talk Big Brother Week 7. We're going to talk HOH. We're going to talk confusion. We're going to talk, is there a new showmance? Jealousy, surprises. We're going to talk somebody who thought he was God, Dr. Will, and the biggest Lothario all rolled into one, who got a big surprise. And we are going to name Rubina an honorary reality queen.
Yes! Honorary reality queen!
I really like puzzles, baby! Let's go!
And we will be also diving into that crazy Bachelorette finale, talking about some spoilers for our girl Jenn and how she was done dirty. This and more, casting all the fun on today's episode of Reality Queens. All right, Jenn. OMG. This week, Bobby, did you die?
Oh, man. What a week. Like, this house has just been absolutely amazing. Like, can we just take it in for a second of what a great season we've had on our hands all the way up to jury? Every single week, the veto has been used. Someone has been blindsided almost every single week. The AI competition has brought so much, even though the house guests don't love it, it has brought so much to this game that I think there's no way they don't use this going forward.
Yes, it has brought chaos, because if you can't plot and plot, so I think we can spoiler alert people that it's going to be gone next week, but having it up until jury has made things so confusing, and them have to play a game that they didn't study, like the super fans at home, or the supposed people that were plants. If you've heard the rumor that Tucker and Angela are casting plants or whatever. And I'm like, everyone's kind of
the casting plant is a rumor.
I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, there's a plant, but then there's also people who are like casting plant. I'm like, dude, everybody is a casting plant. They cast people because they think they will do certain things. They're like, well, Angela was on Dr. Phil. They're like, yeah, they saw how she was nuts, and now she'll say anything on TV. And also, Brooklyn was on Dr. Phil, and they know these people will bring the drama. So yeah, if you want to call them casting plants or good casting, because this is it's a weird cast, because some of them are so seemingly boring, but then when moves are made and things happen, this has been like the most exciting season. So I'm very confused about that. Can anybody explain to me why this cast is seemingly boring, except for Angela, Tucker, a few key people, and quiet, yet this is like one of the best seasons ever? Why? How?
Because we are seeing Big Brother going like Big Brothering. We are getting our Big Brother to Big Brother. That's what it is. We are seeing twists. We're seeing showmances. We're seeing everything you tune in for Big Brother. Plus, we're getting these new competitions. We're getting like all these different personal relationships with the different house guests. So I think that we're just like, even if they're boring, there's just so much going on that's like adding to the not being boring, that we're getting a good Big Brother season.
And they're not boring till they're not. Like, Leah was quiet except for her monologues during the live feeds. And then all of a sudden she was like, lots of boys like me. And then, cut to her. We started Sunday off with Quinn becoming HOH, probably the most disastrous HOH I've ever seen. And at some point, Leah has totally taken over his bed like she's the queen. Quinn's at the foot of the bed. Joseph's hovering over it. And it looks like Leah's HOH. She's at least like the other queen of H. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're complimenting her and telling her she's amazing, and literally being like, and you're going to screw us over. And she's like,
yeah. What do you think about this, Bobby?
Well, I think for me, I think that this season has been really held up by the stars, by people like Tucker, Angela, Quinn. Like, I think these people are what's putting this to the forefront. And the fact that they've all kind of been crazy in their own ways and also going after each other, it's really made this house, even though there's people that have been more quiet or a little more less, more boring TV, they have still been able to be a part of this house and make all these game-changing moves that has really set it apart. And there's people like T-Core and Kimo who aren't the most vocal, but they're pulling a lot of strings underneath everything.
Oh, yeah.
So
Like,
that's
T-Core's
what's
not
making
boring.
entertaining as well.
Yeah,
Right.
T-Core's not boring. I live for her just going, while she lets other people tell them their life secrets and where bodies are buried and all their plans and doesn't have to say much. So, like, I don't think that's boring. I'm like, I'm riveted by that. I'm like, I need to learn that skill. Can I just say that when Sunday kicked off, and I don't want to spend too much time on that or on Tucker, although Big Brother obviously does still want to spend a lot of time on Tucker. The whole Sunday night, which you're expecting to be like, boom, explosion, like a new HOH, new stuff, was like a recap, review, and memoriam of Tucker. And they kept showing his face. And because it's in black and white in the picture, one of the people I was watching with doesn't watch Big Brother. And they went, did that guy die?
Oh my God, stop.
And we were dying laughing. We were like, they're like, seriously, we thought he's like, did he like die mid-season and they're doing a memorial to him? I'm like, no, he just got voted out. That's how much they referred to him every few minutes, even if it wasn't, they tied it in, even if it didn't seem to be about Tucker, and then suddenly put a black and white photo of him slowly up on the screen to the point where a confused person who's a casual but hasn't been really keeping up was like, wait, did he die? And I was like, so, like, Bobby, I'm trying to say, like, you're absolutely right. Like, I think the stars of it or the people that had bigger personalities or were dominant were so, like, exalted into the forefront that maybe other people's personalities didn't come out. But now you have Quinn, who claims to be, like, biggest Big Brother fan person, who I found out actually doesn't really watch the live feeds, just watches the show and the recaps. So he doesn't even watch the live feeds. You miss so much.
I thought he said he watched the live feeds when we first.
So apparently it came out in some like Twitter thread, and then somebody had confirmed that they found him writing somewhere that he's watched every season and like kind of takes notes and geeks out, and he's obsessed with like watching recaps and watching the chatter online, but that he didn't have access to the live feeds for some reason. So while he has seen some, he's not a watcher of them. Like, it's not his regular thing. So
like, he doesn't like tune in to see the live like fights and all the good stuff.
That's didn't have, because he actually wrote
like,
somewhere he didn't have access or couldn't get them or something for most of the time. So that's interesting. And I'm like, look, there's people that have probably never watched a live feed that have been on Big Brother and have had amazing success. But I wanted to segue this into like this being like the most disastrous HOH. He already had his HOH when he got to take over Angela's. And that one didn't really go exactly well for him, but at least it was kind of fun and exciting. And now it's his big shot. He can do what he wants.
Well, Quinn's HOHs are both disastrous because when he took over Angela's, he lost one of his alliance members. So if you think about it, Quinn does not have a good track record in this house, in this game, right? Quinn is like a villain, but he's not a villain. But he kind of is a villain.
He's a bumbling villain.
Yeah. So it's like really confusing. So we come into this week and you're totally expecting him to just target Rubina because of Tucker, blah. And then like maybe Angela because it's easy. And maybe he would go after like, I don't know, Chelsie or Cam, someone he's not like really friends with or that we don't see that he's friends with. What do you guys think about his nominations? I was like really confused.
Yeah, I was confused as well. I think that he did what he thought was best because he wanted to put people up that made the vote for Tucker last week, that were voting in favor of Tucker last week, to justify that to the rest of the house. I feel like when you get to this part of the game where you know jury's around the corner, you got to put up the people that you want to not be there for the jury. The people
Right.
that you know aren't going to have your back or are not going to vote for you to win. This is the last chance you can get them out before they screw up your game for the rest of the whole time. You got to
That's
get
a
them
good
out.
point, because if he gets Rubina or Chemo out, they can't make jury, so they can't be angry with him about it.
Right.
And Mackenzie, if he put her up and got her out, she wouldn't be mad at him because, like, you know, Mackenzie is used to going up and doesn't exactly have an alliance with Quinn. So it's like I thought that Mackenzie would have been a safer thing for him because he's not putting up, you know, two different things. One, I do think that this Rubina, if anybody wants to win, you have to break up Rubina, T-Core, and Chemo.
Yes.
However, Quinn has been a fair weather alliance member to them and to other people. So it's like, I think he's trying to play it kind of safe. And that makes so much sense, Bobby, that like if he does end up screwing over, especially Chemo or somebody that he was like aligned with, and Angela, it doesn't matter because he fights with, and everyone puts Angela up, and it doesn't matter, like Angela's the wild card, that this would make sense for jury management. But in terms of like the way it was gonna go, you could just tell. Maybe it's just because Quinn has been a bumbling thing, like just a bumbling villain. Like he's like, I'm a snake, I can't wait to slither, and then he opens his mouth and tells. Then he simps for Leah, and and then he's confused about what he's gonna do. Yeah,
he is very confusing, and he doesn't think he's playing checkers. He doesn't think his chess moves out, so he's just busy playing checkers, which means
Joseph and Quinn have been saying they're the biggest super fans and that they're the best, and they've been the only one playing checkers while other people have been playing chess.
Exactly. Well, and it's like confusing to me because Quinn at this point doesn't really have any strong allies anyways either, right? So
yeah,
he really needed to use this HOH to really cement a like bond with someone. Well, this ends up being a disaster of an HOH. So we come to the veto competition, and Leah wakes up. I was so shocked to see that Leah won. When I saw Leah won the veto, I was just like, where has this Leah been? Because like I was just like, I was getting on the like, is Leah a floater page? But then I was like, wow, she is going to make decisions and she's going to play a game for herself. And then we see like Hannah Horn said when Leah saved Angela, and then Quinn asked Leah not to use the veto. What do we think about that? Like,
power move. She knows Quinn is not going to hold it against her because he's simping for her so bad. And it establishes her dominance in this house, that she'll play her own game, that she's not just going to vote with the house, that she's not a floater, that she's not afraid, that she's not just like, you know, dumb or just not like just somebody who is like there for, you know, the guys to simp for and to maybe have a little thing with Cam and then to not, or to be quiet, or to like just kind of pretend she's Angela's daughter, which is so risky too. The fact that she uses a video, uses it on wildcard Angela, who may or may not have her back. Now, we did see Angela temporarily, when Tucker used it on her, be like the most grateful lapdog ever. So Leah knows she has a temporary lapdog, but that's also looking off like a powder keg and become her worst enemy. But it made me think Angela maybe she doesn't give a shit.
Well, that, and I also think Angela is a good person to use a veto on, because Angela she's so crazy and outspoken, and she will protect you as much as she can. She turned on Tucker because she's scared of Tucker. She's not scared of Leah. And I think that at the end of the day, I don't think she's like, I think she's kind of all over the place, but I think if you form a real ally in her, she'll stick with you. I don't know. Bobby, what do you think?
Well, and also the fact is Leah knows that if Angela's there in the jury and Leah's in the final two, Leah's getting the vote all day. So 100% she has to make this move because it's best for her game. And at the same time, okay. Well,
you continue. I'll tell you after. It's a sort of, I'm bookmarking for sort of. Continue.
But I also think that, you know, another thing I was going to point out too is I think Quinn actually stumbled into the right move. Even though it was a disaster of an HOH, I think that the fact that he was able to put Joseph up, who the house wanted out, it took a lot of the heat off of Quinn in the fact that, okay, yes, this isn't what we wanted going into this, but we ended up getting what we wanted. So it didn't make him as big of a target coming into this week, I feel like.
But
That's
I
a
feel
good
like
point.
I
Because
do
he
feel
was
like
crying
that's true, but
genuinely.
like I feel like Joseph was an ally for Quinn, and now that Joseph, I don't think Quinn has anyone now.
Well,
like, who
because
does he have?
he didn't really have Joseph, even though he thought he did, because remember, Joseph thinks he's Dr. Will.
Right.
So Joseph,
Yeah.
here's the thing. To win
From all
Big
the
Brother,
Dr. Will moves he's been doing.
Yeah.
I know, like seriously, to be on Big Brother, or any reality show, but you have to be slightly delusional, but your gameplay has to be better than your delusion or your intelligence or your something. Like everybody has to be a little delusional to do anything big, to achieve, you have to be a little delusional. He's just delusional. Like he completely, I mean, until we can get to that. After he left, he still was a little delusional, but maybe a little more. But he has been playing himself up to be like, I'm a super villain. I'm making all the moves. I formed this alliance. I did this. So that brings me to was he really allies with Quinn? Yes, for now, but he would have shanked him any second.
Yeah.
We didn't see like any like big moves or shanking from Joseph. He was like waiting, but I think that was one of the things in his head that was gonna make him a Dr. Will, because I think he was gonna like send Quinn home and I'm a super villain. It was like, you made one move, dude, that no one cares about because no one cares if Quinn stays. So it's kind of like neither of them were really each other's ally. They were allies for now and faux allies. And I think you're actually right that Quinn stumbled into a very good situation for himself. And the bookmark I made about the jury vote is that Leah does have to be careful, because right now, while Angela is like a surefire jury member for her, if Leah breathes wrong, I know she was more afraid of Tucker, but now it's personal because she's like, you're my daughter. And if she does something to make Angela feel like she violated her, she could get wrath from her, and she could get one of the very... People don't really spite jury anymore, usually in Big Brother. Like, people have grown up about it, but Angela
I think
could
they always do.
Yeah, I think it's still there.
I think it's always there. Well, I could see that. I could see Angela like just spite jurying her, and in the jury house, like going after her. But I think Leah is smart enough to know that she's onto that. So I don't see that happening, but I do see Leah now is coming to like the forefront of her game, right? Where it's like, okay, we're gonna go. We're in jury. Tucker's gone. Joseph's gone. Like, but getting rid of Joseph also was so bad for Leah's game. Yeah. I mean that. Was that was like, I feel like Joseph was so in love with Leah, he was gonna protect her at all costs.
I feel that was her game than it was saving Angela. I feel like Joseph was much better person to have there in her corner, just in case, over Angela. I mean, and at this point, is Angela not a lock for final two? Like, who's not going to want to take
Angela might win this. I was like, if Angela wins this, this might be the best season of anything ever of all time, because a raving lunatic with no self-control, but who also can win comps. Let's give her that.
Can win comps,
great TV, could win Big Brother. And I really like Chelsie, but she does have the second HOH curse, and they're featuring her a lot, though. I will say they give more camera time to Chelsie than you would expect, given what her role seems to be. Like, Chelsie gets a lot of camera time.
Because I think they realize Chelsea's going to be around a lot longer than we think, because Chelsie is playing this game. So I put on my threads yesterday. I was like, are we seeing a guaranteed female as the winner this season? Because we're left with Cam, Quinn, and who else do we have? Chemo, right? For the only 3 males in the house.
They should do the Girl Alliance.
I mean, honestly, at this point, like, well, T-Core's never going to turn on Chemo. But at this point, Quinn is going to be an easy target for the girls to get out. They're also going to have, like, the only person I think that is Chelsie that wants to keep Cam around. So I don't see them really making it to the end, any of those guys. So I think we're guaranteed a final 2 all girls alliance. They might just get all the all the boys out. Like, why not?
I think that comes down to happens this week. What happens the first week of jury is really going to set the tone for the alliances going through the rest of the season. Now, granted, a lot of that can change, but as far as the girls' alliance and guys, getting the guys out of the house, we now know who is the HOH. That was weird. We now know who the HOH is going into this season or into the season, into this week. And I don't think they're going to make that move against any of the guys right now.
Well,
maybe one.
Can we spoiler alert it?
Maybe. Let's spoil it. So the
spoil
HOH
it. It's already 20 minutes in. All right. So, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. If you don't want to know, Chelsie is the new HOH this week. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now there's no
Yay.
more Big Brother arena. So they're only putting up 2 people, which means back doors are back in play. They, she is one of the people that's been considering an all-female alliance. Here's the interesting thing with Chelsie. T-Course has promised to keep her as far as she can towards the end. We know T-Core would like to keep Chemo as close to the end.
Yeah.
I feel like T-Core would agree to an all-female alliance, but they wouldn't believe her because they know about Chemo. So maybe she'd say something like, as long as Chemo's the last guy to go and you give him a chance to fight in it. And then all the women can just
Chelsea's
like,
not giving up
yeah.
Cam. Chelsea's
I think
never going to give up Cam.
now. Chelsea
No. She won't give up
might
Cam.
not get rid of Cam.
She loves Cam. He is her only person, I think, that you don't agree, Bobby?
I agree. I actually agree with you. I think it doesn't matter how many head rubs he gets. She's taking him to the end because 1, she knows she can beat him, and 2, I really do think that it's a Black Alliance thing too. I think that she wants to take people of color with her to the end because these are her people, and I get that. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, they have that going on too with Rubina and because they've had Rubina in it. Just that people like they're saying like, all right, let's just the people of color alliance here. Then there is kind of like the Black Alliance, and then there's kind of like a girls alliance. So there's all these different kind of like.
I feel like there's a lot of branches in the house, but what we see, like Jenn, what we see is when these people are like hanging out on live feeds. Chelsie and Cam always in the room together, always hang out, breakfast time, lunch. Hey, do you want a sandwich? Hey, do you want this? Like, doing stuff for each other, right? We see Chemo and T-Core always together. Hey, let's go in the other room. Let's chat. Let's hang out. Let's go to the pool. Like, you have to look at like in the house, like in the live feeds when they're not talking game, when they're not doing whatever, you have to look at who they like genuinely have relationships with. And it's Chelsie and Cam, they genuinely have a friendship. And then Chemo and T-Core genuinely have this friendship. And then I just don't see a lot of other people that have these like genuine friendships. So I don't think Chelsie will ever get rid of Cam. And then Rubina and Chelsie do seem to also be friendly.
Yeah. Well, my one thing with that is that they intentionally showed Chelsie complaining that unless this was just a live feed thing I saw, I don't remember if this made it to air. Chelsie was complaining that Cam treats her like a bro and that, that she doesn't like being treated like that. And she's getting more and more frustrated with Mackenzie, who Mackenzie started off the whole thing saying she will totally pretend to like a guy and totally do that to like intentionally to mess with his head to gain in her game. So it could be to get Cam on her side, but it also could be to try to rattle Chelsie because I don't think Mackenzie is stupid and Mackenzie could have a chance of, she's a physical threat. So
she's going to be good at comps.
Yeah. So I'm like, if you're Chelsie, there's the problem. She does not want to put up T-Core and she's friends with Rubina, but that is a dangerous trio. That's the one problem is if you keep keeping those 3, you're never good. They're never going to focus on each other.
But they're also not going to go after Chelsie. So it is dangerous. I agree 100%. But T-Core and Chemo aren't putting Chelsie up. She's not on their like radar to like get rid of, right? So I feel like at the end of the day, now if the targets are Angela and Leah and Chemo is a pawn, like I just feel like that's bad on Chelsie to put Chemo up as a pawn because he is going to take that personally. Now she could put up Mackenzie and I don't see her and Mackenzie working together. So
No.
I don't know why she wouldn't put Angela, Leah,
Unless
and
they
Mackenzie.
do the female alliance thing, which they do keep. They talk about it so much, but in true fashion, this house, they take a long time to discuss stuff and don't really make a plan. They make alliances left and right, but they don't put a plan forth. Like they think about it first for a long time or discuss it for a long time. So I think Bobby's right that this week, especially because you can only put up 2 people, when we see who Chelsie puts up, and then if someone wins that veto comp, who she replaces it with, I think the results of that are how it has to shake out, if that makes any sense.
Why on earth would you not get out Quinn either? Like, why would she even use?
I think she still trusts Quinn. I think she still trusts Quinn. I think she saw last week that Quinn didn't even target her, that she's always felt this, ever since the days of their old alliance, that she still has this trust with Quinn. And another thing is, like, if he's not coming for her and he's got his targets set elsewhere, then why would you want to get this guy out of the house? So, and he wins stuff.
He does. But isn't Quinn going to try to go out Cam?
I feel like I do agree with you that Cam could potentially be potentially a target for Quinn down the line, but I think they're going to take that chance for the fact that Quinn's not coming after you directly.
Right. Yeah. And that Quinn hasn't been so successful at aiming at his target. So it's like, if I know Quinn does not have set sight on me and also, isn't going to target me, and I can also, because he is a little bit bumbling, build a better relationship because he does now need a friend. If I don't put him up because I want a friend and Chelsea's like trying to think jury vote, trying to think not coming after me, maybe I'm like, Mackenzie's a threat. Mackenzie's good at playing the game. We're not besties, so like Mackenzie and Leah could be good options for her. Yeah. We'll have to see.
Well, I do have one question before we move on. So last night when we were watching the eviction, so Angela's in there babbling, crying over voting out Chemo. And then Chelsie is the one that actually votes out Joseph with the final 4th vote. So I was so confused because I always thought that they were on board to get out Joseph. And then it was going to be Angela was the tiebreaker. And I think Angela thought she was the tiebreaker also. So I don't understand how that happened. I think Chelsie just like wanted Joseph out, but I was just a little confused about that.
I was confused and they kept putting commercials in the middle of it more. So I almost lost count. And that was like, wait, I'm pretty sure it's Joseph because.
So Mackenzie votes out Joseph. So then we had Cam votes out Chemo. Then we have Leah votes out Chemo. And Angela votes out Chemo. And then everyone else votes out Joseph. Like T-Core obviously votes out Joseph. Mackenzie votes out Joseph. Chelsie votes out Joseph. And then who's the 4th person?
Angela?
Who?
Rubina.
Rubina, right. Rubina, right. We knew Rubina was going to, and that was the other confusing thing. We knew Rubina is keeping Chemo. We know T-Core is keeping Chemo. So then essentially he just had those 2 other votes that he had to guarantee. And I thought that Angela was one of them. So Angela and Leah, it was so confusing why they switched up the votes because I thought Angela was going to be the tiebreaker. From watching the live feeds, it seems like Angela was the tiebreaker, but then it ended up being Chelsie.
That's what I thought too. Yeah. So I think that we're going to see, especially now that Chelsie won HOH and that worked out really great with production, they can explain what happened because it seems like the internet is confused. Everyone's confused. There were so many people writing comments about that. They were like, wait, what is happening with the votes? That they didn't understand who voted why. So there must have been some discussions about certain alliances that people thought were moving forward. Or I don't think there was a discussion of like, okay, we're all getting this person out. I think there was some strategy and some stuff that made those 2 things that made Angela's thing a little bit wonky and Chelsie a little wonky that we don't know.
Angela must have voted with Leah, which means they voted to keep Joseph.
Oh, right.
Right. But she's crying. So I was like really confused. She's like, we don't have the votes, Chemo, but then like they did have the votes. So
Angela cries every time. We have to do a check with the thing. Sometimes I'm like, is she really crying or is she just like
Oh, I know.
She
You're
can
right.
turn it on. She can turn
Yes,
it on in a second. But I also think that it came down to the fact that this is why we know Angela and Leah are the targets going into this week, because of how out of the loop they were in that vote,
Yeah.
where they thought that they had it locked in, that it wasn't going to go that way. It was going to go, Chemo was going to be out of the house, and everything flipped. That's how Chelsie has maneuvered this house in her favor, that even the audience can be lost because of the fact she's so underneath it all and able to get people on her side without the house knowing, or even the people watching at home knowing.
So do you
Thank
think
you
it's
for
Chelsie that did
clearing
that,
it
or
up.
do you think it was T-Core and Rubina convincing Chelsie?
I think it was Chelsie was going to do it regardless, and T-Core thinks she's the one who's getting the credit, but Chelsie knows that that was her plan already. She just kind of, that's my opinion, is all.
Yeah.
And
is
also
I
because
feel
she
that way.
started saying, I'm not playing. She said, well, and the other thing, this is also a reference to Cam, but everyone else. Chelsie specifically said, I'm not playing a game for any man. Like
Yes.
that is over. And then she also referenced playing the game for herself and starting to make moves. So Chelsie is like advancing forward. Like the only issue is, does the second HOH curse remain? Because she was the second HOH.
Well, I don't think it's like, I think that curse is like, I think it was broken on Big Brother Canada. So I think it's like not a curse anymore.
I hate all the curses. I hate them so much. It's not a thing. Like, okay,
the first
I
person
get it.
in the house and the fifth HOH have never, ever, ever, ever won. I mean, I guess it's a numbers game, but I'm like, I don't know. If
The
Chelsie
first person in the house.
Chelsie
Sorry,
should win right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
probably,
I agree.
Probably. If she goes
I agree.
home, then start believing in voodoo or something and magic and curses.
Chelsea's playing the best game too.
Yeah, 100%. I 100% think Chelsie and T-Core are playing two of the best games in the house right now. But I will say this. All the curses, like, yeah, it was fun when the first one in curse was a thing. We've seen that be broken. Yes, it was on a different version of Big Brother. It wasn't, per the original, but we've seen it happen at this point. Can we just knock it off with all the curses, everybody? Like next is gonna be the first person to eat cereal in the house is, never gonna win the game. Like, come on.
Right.
First,
I know.
the
I
toilet
agree,
loses the
Bobby.
game every time.
I know. Maybe it's like an extra thing just for myself to put me on pins and needles because I'm like, oh my God, she's doing so well. But what if, like it's another thing to throw in there. But actually, I think what you had just said, Bobby, about that reflecting that Leah and Angela are so out of the loop and potentially are the targets, and that Chelsie is orchestrating things might be completely accurate. And you may have just summed everything up for everybody on the internet who's like, what is happening? So
it was very confusing, but I do agree that does make a lot of sense that they would be so out of the loop. So then my question is, so if it's Leah and Angela, and this is a Chelsie HOH week, they're the targets, is Angela the target or is Leah the target? Because I'm thinking that at this point, it's if they can get out Leah, they're going to take that shot, just because I don't think the other girls like her as much.
I personally think that it is a much smarter move to get rid of Angela. Yes. I understand why they wouldn't. I understand that they think that any one of them can beat her. But at the end of the day, she's taking someone's spot. She's taking someone's spot that wants to be there and, thinks they should be there. That's an actual competitor. They think she's batshit crazy, which she is. They love her, but they know she's batshit crazy.
Win. She's won so many times.
She's won, and
I don't know if she can, guys.
But she could get to the end. She could get to the end of the season and sit next to Chemo. And do you really think
true?
They're voting?
If she was sitting next to Chemo, you would vote for Chemo?
I don't think she beats Chemo. I don't think she beats anyone in this house. Because I think T-Core, now that T-Core's in the jury, T-Core's going to control, if she's voted out, who wins this game. Because she's got Rubina.
I do agree that.
She's got Rubina. She's got Chemo. Chemo there, obviously, he can't vote. She's got T-Core. And everyone else in the house respects and loves T-Core. That if T-Core says, hey, guys, I don't think we should vote for this person for this reason, I guarantee you it happens. Like they're brainwashed to T-Core.
I think
usually you're my biggest educator on this. I when you say something like a light bulb goes off, but I think if Angela manages to make it to a final two with Cam, or I think maybe Chemo there. Cam especially. Cam
Maybe
and her
Cam.
that people are going to be like, what? And then Angela wins. And I know I totally understand what you're saying about the T-Core thing. And also they have such allegiance. They love him. Like they love, but you never know. But what you're saying does
well,
make
let's
sense.
just put it this way. There's a very slim chance that Cam is making it to final two.
If Cam and Angela are the final two, what the hell happened?
What happened the rest of the season? Because at this point, we are not even seeing the possibility of that. Because if Chelsie, like we said, Chelsea's not letting Cam go, but Chelsie will let Angela go. And Quinn is not going to let Cam go, obviously, because he didn't go after him last week. So, I mean, I think that at this point, there's a very slim chance that Angela and Cam are the final two. But stranger things have happened in this house.
Exactly.
Never
Don't say
know.
never.
Never know. But so this, I mean, I think this season is it's going to be a good end of the jury. So we know that we have a 7-person jury. We know that the AI twist is now over. So did Ainsley clarify last night if there's not going to be 3 nominees? Because I just thought she said the AI.
There's not.
There's
Just
not 2 nominees.
Okay. Perfect.
Yes.
So 2 nominees, no AI competition, which is odd.
But they said there is going to be some other twist that or something they said, and something else will be coming up. And that could be anything. That could be they
love their jury twists. They love a good jury twist.
They also said that they were like, okay, well, and Ainsley's going to break this amazing news to the house. All she said was basically, hey, we made jury and it's now just 2 people nominations and no more AI. How is that massive news?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It was
just
the
game.
last 1 minute of the show. And it was not massive news. And it was the last 1 minute of the show. So that was I was confused. But I wonder, when I was watching that competition that Rubina slayed, by the way, she slayed it. I thought in my head, this is a really dangerous competition to have live because there is just so many chances that this could go so much longer than they have planned.
They have taken too many chances this year.
They have taken so many.
This body Rubina doing it.
Oh, I thought when I saw that, I thought Joseph was going to win. But then once I saw Rubina going for it, the way that she was going for it, I was like, oh, this is her competition. She was just beasting it.
She's the perfect size for it because she can go up and over and under and she looked like she was built perfect for this challenge because she's tiny and she can fit in those small areas and do it. I mean, granted, good for her. She killed it. She absolutely killed it in this competition. And Joseph couldn't have looked more lost in his entire life. The one time he doesn't throw a challenge and he can't even close.
He can't, no. But, and that's the thing when people say, I'm throwing a challenge. I'm like, are you throwing it? Or are you just really bad at it? Yeah. And I also felt like this, for me, this competition, because Brendan did it with really heavy ropes. And then they do it on Survivor. And we have seen these competitions before. I do think that strategy Rubina had was the strategy where you go, try to go as far as you can and then go back if you need more rope. Because if you spend too much time just trying to get more rope and thinking that you still don't know if you're actually there, so you kind of have to just go back and forth and kind of
because you know what, I didn't think Rubina had enough rope, so I was like, and then she got to it and I was like, I actually freaked out. I was so excited that I was cheered for her. And then when they came down the stairs, she could barely hold her containment. And she was you knew she won. She's the only one who didn't have a poker face. And then the best, after that whole confusing vote, when Joseph was voted out, just for all the things he has said about himself, about how smart he is, how great he is, how he's the best player, I cackled almost. I was I was evil laugh, almost aha, just it was so much fun to watch him be voted out. And sometimes it's because you hate somebody or you just think they suck, but for some reason, this was just pure fun just to watch somebody who thought he was a mastermind. It was just like,
yeah. He was a floater. Sorry, again, him and Brooklyn both.
You hate floaters.
Yeah, I hate the floaters, and I just don't like when people act like they're doing so much in the game, and he clearly wasn't. So we'll see how the rest of the season goes. All right, Jen. Oh, go ahead, Bobby.
I was just gonna say we love a delusional king, but like he was beyond delusional. Like he was thinking I just want to give him his flowers because he brought nothing to this season. Nothing. He thinks he was God's gift on earth to this season, and I can't wait for him to get home and be, clear.
Like not even the jury, just sent
not
home
even in the jury.
And I want to shout out one thing: Julie Chen's jeans. Julie Chen wearing like flare leg, like kind of like medium wash jeans. I was like, because she always wears a dress, and I was like, what is happening? So shout out to Julie Chen's jeans.
Julie's stylist always like mid-season goes very Gen Z.
Yeah, it happened. Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah, we love it. We love a good Julie Chen stylist switch up. So we'll keep watching this season, and yes, love one another.
Love one another.
Speaking of love, who is not loving another?
Oh God, I know what we're about to talk about.
Fran, on our I am just the Bachelorette finale. I am like, this was my reaction to the Bachelorette finale. It was just like, what?
Well, it was, but it wasn't for me because of two things.
You knew the spoilers?
No, although they did give lots of like teasing that something was going to go wrong. But one, Jenn was so heavily saying like, I'm not ready for a romance. I don't pick good people. I have whatever, that I was like, well, maybe this might.
Oh my God, I didn't pick up on that the whole season.
Literally all she said.
Season. That's all she said.
Every cutaway is, I deserve something good. I don't know how to be in a relationship. I pick bad men. It's all like, she barely said anything else except for like, I'm afraid of heights. And then, so I was like, wait a minute. Like we're not only setting it up for us, this is her reality. And then also I know dating at every age is a nightmare, like being older and single's a nightmare, whatever. But like this younger dating, like insanity of like, I almost from just like what I hear in the ether and younger people I know and people I interact with, it's like, I almost am like, how could you not? How can you continue to have bachelors? Like only the Golden Bachelor, who, by the way, I did not think that last guy was sincere. I know you say he is. But
I know. I was so sad.
This one I think is going to be great though. But I almost expected it just because I was like, of course, like a fuck boy, idiot.
I did not expect it from Devin because you know why? All season he has been like so wishy-washy. I'm trying to prove love. I'm trying to fall in love. And then I was like, okay, he is like really working through this to make it work, right? So I kept thinking in my head that he was going to be the game changer. And you're right, they did that all season long. She did say that every episode. So they did set us up for that. And I think I am the optimist in relationships where I'm like, no, it's because she's going to fall in love and they're going to last and it's going to be great forever and ever. And like, I don't know. I also think they did her dirty on the finale. I just didn't think that like they like watching the proposal and like all the things, like, it's just like, I was really, I don't know. I feel like we could have gone into that now knowing what we know, and like we could have seen this is what happened, but this is where we're at kind of thing. So like I almost blame the producers a little bit for that. So I don't know, but you're totally right. You're totally right that she said that all season. I don't know. I think she's gonna find someone out there for her that is like for her,
like a Marcus that actually can fall in love.
Right, exactly. And it was almost like she didn't pick Marcus because he was in love with her. And you know what else I read? That she was like still in love with Sam, which I was like, ew.
What if, because remember Devin and Sam had the big rivalry, and Sam, I do think Sam's a supervillain. I think he's also a liar and maybe like sociopathic. But imagine if he was correct about Devin the whole time and just comes off weird because he does not know how to express himself and is an angry guy, and the whole time was right about Devin, and Devin made him. And Devin manipulated everyone into hating him because Devin was really this like. I'm like that kind of thing a little. I was like, Sam is sitting there like, but I'm also like, I wouldn't trust Sam either. So I'm like the guys in the cast that she could have trusted with her heart, she just simply didn't. Yeah, that's it.
Right. She picked the wrong, and she said that all season, and then she did. She picked the wrong guy at the end. So. I don't know. I mean, it's very like a story that everyone's talking about. So I wonder if that was part of it. And now I also kind of understand why they showed us the Bachelor, like why we got to find out who the Bachelor was early. And like, I don't know. I'm wondering how the franchise is going to be able to like come up for air in this and like in the future, because I just don't think that we've seen a lot of seasons recently where it's just like what I mean. It's we want to watch because it's a fairy tale, and we haven't seen that in a long time. You know?
No, I think there are a lot. Well, I'm not one of those people like that was back in the day was better. Nostalgia was better because things were definitely horrible and people were trapped in marriage at whatever. But that being said, I think it's just like how everything seemed really great and the economy was amazing in the 90s and Bill Clinton and then like 9/11 happened, but then things bounced back and we were whatever. And now it just seems like nothing is a fairy tale. Everything's a little scary and romance is dead, like all these things. And this generation, I mean, they're a little bit older than it, but they're at the top of like the Gen Z bottom millennial. Yeah. Like having less sex, they're getting in less relationships. They're less committed. They all talk about the dating apps being just like a nightmare. Like it's something they consistently talk about. Or how are these people even going to stay together, get married, reproduce? Like no one's having babies. So I'm wondering, like, it's true what you're saying. Like, how does this franchise resurrect itself during a time when people would much rather watch Love Island or something?
Oh yeah, it's fun and they're hot and they're crazy and they're crying and making out with everyone, and it's just like it's just more. It feels more realistic, I guess.
I think they need to raise the age now, especially because the Bachelor fans and diehards are older. They're like elder millennials, some Gen X, that maybe now if instead of having like 20 and 30-year-olds, you have, because people aren't getting married till later anyway and having kids. It's like if you have older 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds, you still will have attractive people finding their fairy tale after they did their career or whatever. And I think... And it's not too close to the Golden Bachelor because that's like a totally different thing. So
if it's like the 30s,
if I was producing The Bachelor, I would do a season maybe where I would think, let's do someone who's like 42 or 40 and see if that works.
Especially
Can I ask a question as a who didn't watch The Bachelor but has seen seasons in the past because his wife watches it religiously? Why do they have to have like 15 finale episodes? Like it seems like it's like, oh, the 3-hour finale, and then there's a 3-hour reunion, and then there's a 3-hour after reunion.
I can't do it. That I never did.
Because when we first started watching, okay, so like The Bachelor like evolved. It was always like a, they had their 60-minute episodes, blah blah blah. Then it was like the finale was like a big deal, and then we would see the men tell all or the women tell all, and that was always like such a big deal. And we wanted to see that because our favorites weren't on the show anymore. So they've kind of continued with that, where now it's like when they're not all your favorites, you're just like, well, what's the point? But they've continued with this, like you said, like a 90-minute pre-finale. And then there's a 90-minute men tell all. And then there's a 90-minute finale. And I think it's because the audience, we had been wanting that, but now like we want like we wanted a fairy tale. Like I've always watched because I want that fairy tale ending, and I want like the, like I don't know, like the older seasons of Bachelorette Bachelor where they would, actually fall in love and stay together and, all the things, and it's cute and you just really don't even know until the end. So it's just more fabricated now.
I'm a bad person to ask because I used to hate watch it. I was never, I didn't buy into the fairy tale thing, which is funny because now that I'm older, I actually would love to fall in love and me and I have my daughter and blend a family together and have our Brady Bunch fairy tale. But when I was younger and The Bachelor was out, I never dreamed of my wedding dress or my ring or this fairy tale. And I thought the people on it, it was so unrelatable and they were all perfect looking. Now there's more diversity in the way they look. They were so pretty and perfect looking and also kind of cheesy. And they all seemed a little bit dumber than the average person, but better looking than the average person. And just the people that were I want to find my other half and love and almost robotically.
It was a Disney movie produced by ABC.
I like Disney movies.
I do too. But it was a Disney movie. It was Cinderella who had whatever, produced by ABC with real people. Your first Bachelor was Andrew Firestone. You know what I mean? This was something. And then we had Trista, and Trista was the first Bachelorette, and she was just so lovely and such a glamorous, and it was just watching her fall in love was so fun. And then I think it just gradually it's just now they're just keep recycling. If you're on The Bachelor, you can be the Bachelorette. If you're on The Bachelorette, you can be the next Bachelor, whatever. But they're not they're not going outside the box to cast anymore. It feels more incestuous, it's just all the things. I don't know.
Just rinse and repeat.
Yes,
the one season of Golden Bachelor that was out and that I watched, I found infinitely more entertaining, interesting. The personalities more interesting, the stories more interesting. I was way more invested in it than I've been in any Bachelor season ever. So I'm looking forward to the Golden Bachelorette.
The Golden Bachelorette is going to be really good because Joan is that glamorous, amazing woman, and I think I'm excited for it too. Okay, so Hannah Horn is saying that Phaedra from Traitors is on. Tori Spelling is on Dancing with the Stars. Jenn is also on Dancing with the Stars, our Bachelorette. And we have, what's her name? Sorkin, the liar.
Oh, yes! Yeah. Yes! Anna Delphine Sorkin, yes.
Are you rooting for her? Because I am not. I am why are we putting this woman who is only famous for conning people on dance? I get it. It's a ratings.
I know you're why put a criminal on there who's actually harmed people and taken money from them and done whatever.
Yes.
If I were to really sit and think about that, I would be God, she conned people and hurt people, and that sucks.
She is still wearing an ankle bracelet.
But I think that some of the people that she did it to were so detestable that you and not just that those type of characters that have so much money and it's not about having money because everyone wants to build wealth, whatever. But those people that care about that type of stuff too. Yeah. You know what I mean? That she was able to con them because they only cared about appearances and false things.
Sure.
Somehow makes
she's still
funny.
A con artist.
Yeah, I agree.
A federal criminal.
You also shared an attorney, by the way. I've also her attorney has been my attorney too at one point, but and I really like him. So.
Isn't there a problem with our television with when we are putting people on a platform that is a huge platform? Dancing with the Stars is not a little show. I think there is a problem when we are allowing that kind of behavior to be acceptable. Just like the girl that murdered, I'm sorry that's controversial, but just like the girl that murdered her mom. No, don't put her on a platform. She's still a felon and has committed a serious crime. She needs to think about what she did. She needs to this other chick, she needs to think about what she did. She should not be on Dancing with the Stars. She is not a star. She is a criminal who is wearing an ankle bracelet.
At the end of the day, the producers don't care. They see money, and that's
all
they care about.
No, I know.
Yeah,
but
I was going to say what isn't criminal. Look, what isn't criminal right now? And look, this could be political or apolitical, just a fact or whatever. But the fact that we know our foods have poisons in them, the fact that we know that we aren't taking care of our people, the fact that we know that there's billionaires and people with nothing wrong, go ahead, become a billionaire, but that class of people gets away with tons of different stuff that other people doesn't. The fact that a lot of our people are exalted, the fact that all of our housewives, you're ending up finding out that like a lot of them make their money off the back of crazy different things like scams and MLMs and just like exploiting workers. The fact that we, including me, Amazon Prime myself something with workers that are in trouble. I'm like, if we are going to be mad about Anna Del Rey being on Dancing with the Stars and being our entertainment, we should all look at like our iPhones, who are probably made unethically. We should look at our Amazon deliveries that are probably being delivered and made and delivered unethically. And we all will just collapse if we ever think about the whole thing. So sorry to be a bummer, but if we actually stop to think, but if you stop to think about one thing, I do think you have to think about context. Then,
but are we not allowed? Then are we not saying that like, hey kids, if you are a scammer and you scam all these people, that you too could be a celebrity one day?
I agree.
Isn't that
I completely
are doing that though. There's plenty of people that are like, that's why I used to hate like certain prank shows where they actually upset people or did something, or like YouTubers that like mess with people that get really big. But I agree with what you're saying. I just wish it would become the rule instead of us being like, well, she got caught, so now she can't be a star. But meanwhile, everything's going on right in front of our face. Like we are willfully ignorant of that is our lifestyle.
And I completely agree with you too, Rachel. I think that you're absolutely right that we shouldn't be giving these people a platform, especially to show children that it's okay and can get you on TV and look at like there's no repercussions here. One, I think it's a good thing in the fact that you can use money to pay back some of the victims, because that's definitely where this money is going to. So I do see a little bit of justification in that small extent. And then secondly, we've seen this happen before numerous times with ex-mafia members going on TV and playing in game shows. Like we've seen a ton of stuff, like, you know, these people that have killed people go on TV and be like reality stars. I can't think of an exact example, but I know there's many situations where there has been.
There's a whole show called Love After Lockup. Yeah. I mean,
exactly.
Look. And I'm all for a redemption story. Don't get me wrong. If these people are redeeming themselves and they are coming back and they're they did their time and they have realized it was wrong and they're going to say, don't do what I did. But I don't think that that's the case with this situation. Like,
yeah, you're right. That is a very good point, that if she wasn't so proud of herself and smug about what she did and was like, you know what? It would be an interesting tale of like, I scammed my way through this entire thing. Here's how I did it. Here's how to like protect yourself. Right. And like, I'm on here to pay restitution and also to give a platform to it. That would make sense. But I get what you're saying. Like, that makes sense.
She's like in interviews saying, oh yeah, I'm going to bedazzle my ankle bracelet. Like, no, girl, you should not be wearing an ankle bracelet. People that are bad people wear ankle bracelets. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not a judger. Live your life. But like, let's try to like live ethically and not harm other people and be kind.
Love one another.
Love one another, like Julie Chen tells us.
Love one another.
But you can have money. Why would you do that when you can have all the money in the world?
I always tell people, if I could be a psychopath or a sociopath, I would take it if there was press the button to be one, because then where would the struggle be? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, did I do enough for this? Did I make this person upset? Is this like obsessively, like, especially when I was younger?
Same.
Is this the right thing to do? Like cannot. I have no like ability to like manipulate something or like do something for my own personal gain at the harm of someone else. And I'm like, I always thought like, I was like, oh, that's great. But now I'm like, if there was a psychopath button, not a sociopath because they're messy. Psychopaths are not messy. I might push the psychopath button because I would be like, then I wouldn't be sad all the time and I'd be rich.
I mean, and there's also a difference, like what you're saying with the reality people, like the housewives, when they're doing this, they're like consciously trying to make television. And I feel like we see these game players in competitions, like lying and cheating and this, that, and the other thing. And like, they're consciously doing that to play a game. I don't know how they act in real life. They probably lie and cheat all the time too.
Totally different.
like-
if you're a Survivor Big Brother, that's different. You're playing a game, and
Yeah.
the rules are win.
Right. The
Yeah.
rules are win, but the rules of life are let's be kind, love one another,
I
and be
agree.
ethical.
I wish more people saw it that way. And honestly, the world would be a lot better place if that was the case. Also, as far as sociopaths and psychopaths, it's never enough. There's never enough money. There's never enough,
Never. That's
attention
true.
on
I
them.
know, 'cause you're
That's the
empty.
problem.
I know,
Yeah.
because those people are empty and they're just filling a hole. Well, that's more sociopaths. Psychopaths are more just like, more, because they're just driven that way.
And then,
But
like, is she going to be the first evicted? Like, how is she even able to go on a show with her ankle bracelet? That's like another question. Because I thought when you had an ankle monitor, you like couldn't go places.
no,
She
they
has to get
monitor where you
approval.
go to a job. So you can go to a job,
Yeah.
and let's say that they know that this money is going to be dispensed to the court. A judge probably had to agree it. A judge
Yeah.
probably had to said, you go to rehearsals, then back. And this money, if you do win, and the money that you're being paid for this, like, yes, they can give somebody like a slight living wage, like, so you can pay for an apartment because you can't be like on the streets, but like anything in excess of this goes to the victim fund or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's probably why. I mean, Lindsay
how
Lohan had the
great-
ankle bracelet on, and we used to chase her around, and she was out and about and wasn't violating her thing. Because ankle
How
monitors
great
make
would it
sure.
be, though? Sorry, Jen, go ahead.
Oh, some
say,
ankle
how great-
monitors are house arrest, some are house arrest, and some are just monitoring so you don't leave the country or go to certain places.
How great would it be if they just came there and like tackled her in the middle of her dance, though, because
we
like, she was in violation?
You're like,
TV
hey,
gold.
sorry, you've got to go. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's just, and I know you're right. They only care about the money or whatever, but it's a sad, yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, I will be watching for Phaedra. I will be watching for Jenn, and I will be watching. I love Tori Spelling. Tori Spelling is a good comeback girl. We're going to give her a redemption story. I mean, like, I think we have a lot of like crazy stories this season, basically, right? Like Dancing with the Stars there's a lot of we're gonna have a lot of interesting stories. But anyways, I have to go. I know you guys all have to go. We have places to be.
Yeah.
So it's so great to talk to everyone. We love you. Thanks for joining. You can join us here every Friday at 10:30 Central. What time is it? 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 11:30 Eastern. For Reality Queens, we are going to be doing all the things, and we will see you talking about Big Brother and all the reality shows next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Oops, I got to.
How do we turn us off? How do we